Hey everyone, how you doing? David Angelo with the David Angelo Show, episode number 3. The ball is rolling. We're underway. Things are going. We got the ratings in. Let me see if I got the ratings. You can see them right here. Doing really well. I made $128. See, I give you transparency. These other YouTubers, they like to pretend that they're just raking in the dough. Lavish lifestyle. I'll show you the numbers. So we got $128 on 100,000 views. Okay, most of it's from my comedy special, New York Legend, which I recommend you go watch if you want to see a stand-up comedy special. I don't know why you would, frankly, or why I would make one, but it's there. Predominantly giving me. That's where most of the earnings are coming from, as you can tell. But the David Angelo Show coming in about $40. And you know what? It's good. At that rate, I'll be able to live off of the income from this show. If we grow at this pace, I'll be able to live off of this income when I'm in my early 120s. And I think it's nice to have a retirement plan, something in the works like that. But that's not why we do it, right? We don't do it for the money or the fame. I mean, I know it's asking too much for you guys to share a link. Can you put a link down? Can you go to a forum or a website or say, hey, check this out? I would never say to do that. I would never say like and subscribe. You begin to understand why other people do, but I wouldn't lower myself to that. So the things we're going to talk about today are, I guess it's been a while since I've done an episode, but the conventions are done. We're done. We've nominated. We got Kamala and Walz, and then we have Trump and Vans, and that's the ticket. Those are the two tickets. 98% of everybody knows who they're voting for based on personality, which I think is the way to run a pirate colony. I think when you have what this country is essentially a pirate colony, right? And when you want to pick a leader, you just go by who. It's like kind of picking a leader in prison. It's not really about the policies per se. It's more about personality. Who's going to speak to your needs emotionally. And when you mix that together, just a lot of emotionality with this country being a pirate colony, I think the future is good. And I think the fact that I'm making $40 off of the show so far, there's reasons to celebrate. And speaking of celebrating, at the convention, Kamala's convention, I mean, it was a huge party. Let's see, do we have this stuff? Look at all of what's going on here. This is some of the coverage from the DNC. So this will be we'll just do it like a quick eye exam. Let's see how long it takes you to find the word joy in the headlines. Did you see? I found it. I'm going to see if you can find it before me. Yep, there it is. Yep. Joy, yep. Oh, that one's easy. Joy. Joy is fueling. Joyride, return of joy, joyful message. In contrast to darker Trump, it's important to get both angles of the propaganda machine in a headline if you can. Now, some of them you just say you can only do one side at once, but if you can do both, if you can say she's joyful, he's dark and scary, then you're really earning your money, and I appreciate that from the Washington Post. They always go above and beyond. Here we go. Here's another good one. Harris is pushing joy. Trump paints a darker picture. We're we're understanding what the messaging is. Amid the gloom, we're gestalting that's Trump. Can joy win over voters? And then we got Tim Walz, of course, who is, everyone loves him. If you're the same people, the judge of character who thought Michael Avenatti was a great lawyer, are really, really latching on Tim Walz as just a great honest guy. So yeah, that's just some of the coverage. It's important to have a free press, so we get all these opinions, all this myriad of opinions that it's important, you know, different outlets. They wonder why different outlets are struggling. That's a big. There's discourse on the internet. Why is the media struggling? I don't know. But anyway, so Kamala did her convention, and then she put some policies out, and I guess I can go through some of them. Let's see here. Do I have this up on the screen? Harris to propose up to $25,000 in down payment support for first-time home buyers. My dog is snoring. If you can hear it, I'll maybe there's a filter for that, but Harris to propose $25,000 in down payment support. So the idea is, if you're not, housing prices are expensive. There's an unaffordability crisis in housing right now. And so the Democrats, they say, home prices being too expensive, we must do something. So what they're doing is they're offering a $25,000 down payment. I guess it's just free money for first-time home buyers. Okay. So just initially when I heard this, it reminded me of another program. This is another program. Do you remember this one? The single family first-time home buyer credit. Do you remember this? It was for $7,500. So it wasn't that good. But do you remember when they did this one? And this was from, what was the name of this bill? This was the Housing and Economic Recovery Act of 2008. So in 2007, there was a big economic crash, right? And home prices collapsed. And in response to that, the government said, we have to stabilize the housing market. And so all these things were happening, and this was one of many policies that was introduced to help recover, housing recover. So they were going to say, we're going to give you money, and that will, because the prices were going down, remember? The prices were going down, home prices were going down, and they said, no, this is a spiral, this is dangerous. Because obviously it was, it's a nightmare. What you do realize is homeowners they're like landed gentry. We still have the same kind of system, like back in England, when they'd be like, this is an earl and a baron, and they would be the landlords, right? And they would have, if you own property, the government will bend over backwards for you at all times. So when housing prices were going down, it was a panic. Now, for people like me who wanted to buy a house, that's a good thing, right? Oh, hey, look, isn't it great? Now it's possible to buy a house. But the government said, no, we can't have housing be affordable. We need to get these prices back up. So what they did was they gave a first-time home buyer credit for some money. They gave people money to go buy a house to raise the prices. So Kamala, right now, the prices are too high. And so the reaction from the government is, we have to give people, it's the same exact reaction. There's the same policy. When the prices were too low and they wanted them higher, they gave people money. Now they're too high and they want them more affordable, but they don't really want them lower. They're going to give people money. I don't know. You decide whether you like this or not. Here's what ultimately will happen when you give people $25,000 in down payment support. So usually down payment is going to be 20% of the home price. So when you put $25,000 down, you're getting 4 times that much in a price of a home. So if let's say it's your only down payment, right? You're going to be able to buy a house that's $125,000. So giving this money will just make houses not just $25,000 more expensive, $125,000 more expensive, because you get a leverage when you do it. Because when you're borrowing money, down payment, the more you have up front, it's usually, let's say it's 20% down, you get $125,000 in home equity that you can buy with $25,000 down. So just add $125,000 to the cost, to the price of your home when you list it, because now the government will be giving people $25,000 more to afford it. So the price of a house will obviously go up. And I also just want to make this is a tangential point, but I think it's important to make. All you hear about is price gouging and all these kind of things with corporate America, with Wall Street. Look at how greedy corporations are. Okay. When people have control over pricing, whether usually it's small stuff, eBay or whatever, but in housing, they're doing whatever they can. And it's not like Goldman Sachs is selling all these houses. These are your neighbors. These are people in your community. They want to wring you dry. If they're going to get 100% profit on the house that they've been living in for 7 years, that is fine by them. They'll go right to sleep at night in their new house that's even bigger, because they don't care. So this idea of like greed being just siloed into Wall Street or, hedge funds or these kind of industrialist capitalist people, I think you just need to reframe your view on that, because when ordinary Americans get the chance to try to get as much money as possible, they always try to get as much money as possible. They'll do all these things. They'll have their house. They'll have like a low price on the house to attract a lot of bidders, right? And then a bunch of people come in, then it's like a competitive bid situation. They'll take the highest bid. They don't say, well, geez, these people here, they probably are going to be the best fit for the community. They don't care if you bulldoze it and build another. They have no concern. So that mentality, that greedy capitalist Wall Street thing, it's in every single person selling a home right now. It is not limited to Wall Street. So your neighbors are just as much of a fat cat, per se, as the managing directors at Goldman Sachs. Just a side note, because you hear a lot. I'm all for vilifying everybody, by the way. It's not like I'm saying don't vilify Wall Street, but make sure you vilify also the ordinary person who lives on your street. That's my message, if nothing else today. That is my message to you guys. Let me see, what do I have? The other thing, what she have? Unrealized capital gains. So she wants to do this. This is a thing from Elizabeth Warren's recycling, sustainability. Elizabeth Warren wanted to tax unrealized gains when she was running in the primary in 2020. I did a video on this. Again, it wasn't necessarily a blockbuster. I think 3 or 4 people probably might have shared that link. But I did a video on this. When you have unrealized gains, a tax on it, it's red meat to the peasants. It kind of means nothing, because all that will happen is if you're rich and you're in a country with unrealized gains tax, it's confiscation, and you'll just leave. So let's say, Elizabeth Warren's plan, she was saying just 2 cents, just 2% on over $1 billion or whatever it was. So what happens is it's not just 2%, because you have to pay the tax in money, right? So to sell it, to give it to the government, you have to realize the gains to make the tax payment. And then that triggers another tax, which is the capital gains tax. So to make the unrealized capital gains tax payment, you have to realize some capital gains. So it's that price, the initial rate for the unrealized gains rate. Let's say it's 10% or something. But then let's say you have $100 million and the unrealized capital gains tax is 10%. So you're supposed to pay $10 million. But you can't just, let's say you can't write a check for $10 million. It's in stock or something. It's something you own. You have to sell something to pay $10 million. But you can't just sell $10 million worth. You have to, because the capital gains tax is, let's say it's 50%. So then you have to sell $15 million worth of something, pay the $5 million capital gains tax, and then you'll have $10 million left to pay the unrealized, which is now realized capital gains tax. It sounds confusing. Here's all you really need to know. After like 5 years of this, you end up losing a lot of like the majority of what you've been, your wealth. So people will leave. And Elizabeth Warren had a provision in her plan that there would be an exit tax. So if anyone wanted to leave the country, it'd be like a 40% tax on all of your wealth to leave, to renounce American citizenship and move to wherever, Monaco, what have you. And that was supposed to be like, that will prevent people from leaving. But that's actually a good deal because 40% is only like 5 years worth of, it depends on what the rate is, but very quickly it becomes preferable than waiting around, 10 years paying this tax every year. So a lot of people will just leave, and then what happens is that tax, like the income tax, which was supposed to be just on rich people, then becomes a tax on all of us. And then unrealized gains, as you guys know, if you think doing your taxes is bad, now, imagine when you have unrealized gains, the IRS, they're going to come over with Marie Kondo and the team from Antiques Roadshow. They're going to go through all your possessions. They're going to see, well, this went up in this much value. This one, you have to pay tax, and you're going to have to sell all of it to pay the tax. The whole thing is crazy, but people love it because they don't think it through. And that's the bedrock of all the policy that we have in this country right now. It sounds good. Look, believe me, do whatever you want to these billionaires. Roll a guillotine out. Don't use it. I'm not advocating anything. Do not defund this video. Do not demonetize this video. Do whatever you want. In theory, nonviolently. Is that clear? I don't care. But you have to think these policies through. Because what will happen is all the rich people will leave, and then they're going to be applied to me, a guy who can't even afford a house. Isn't that sad? I got $40 in earnings on this thing so far. So what else do we got? Oh, the other thing I want to talk about is something that's been it's been bothering me for weeks. Democrats are on this kick. One of the big propaganda pushes right now from the media / Democrats is to say that crime is at all-time lows. I don't know why they are insistent on this, but they keep saying the crime is low. Republicans are crazy. These people are crazy. They're delusional to think crime is high. How does everyone think? And here's a clip.
This is the reason you see the violent crime at record highs in Minnesota.
Congressman Emmer, when you look at the actual statistics, the numbers are actually down for violent crime in Minnesota and across the country for the past, it's better than the past almost 50 years. If you look.
Okay. They keep saying this. Look at the statistics. Look at the statistics. Now, me being an idiot, I looked at the statistics. Everywhere you go, it looks like crime is up. So here's Chicago. Now I'm dealing with 2023 because there's no year-end report on 2024. This is Chicago crime. Okay, you can see it. So what they'll do is that here's this like game they play. What is it? Like they're like, U.S. stats show violent crime dramatically falling So why is there a rising clash with perception? I don't believe the statistics. Some dumb Trump supporter. In the State of the Union address, Joe Biden boasted that the nation reported a historically low murder rate in 2023 and a violent crime rate had plummeted to one of the lowest levels in 50 years. I don't understand where any of this is coming from. So what they'll do is they'll take, like, murder is down 13% in 2023 versus 2022, but it's still up. Over the 4-year period, it's up 23%. So it goes, there was a ton of crime, and then it's just, a little bit of decrease. And they say, look at how much it's dropped, which is just incredibly dishonest. This is Chicago, D.C. Homicides in D.C. were up 36% in 2023, the most in 20 years. So somehow there's all this reporting where they'll be like, look at all this crime. Here's the stats. If you go through every city, look at your own city. This is that thing. It's historic. U.S. poised to see record drop in yearly homicides despite public concern over crime. So you're an idiot if you think there's crime, because that's a perception problem. There's actually no crime. This is the message that we're getting from the machine here, okay? So 2023, blah, blah, blah. The homicide rate in the United States is expected to plummet nearly 13% compared to 2022, which means more than 2,000 fewer people were the victims of homicide this year. So the idea is in 2023, 2,000 fewer people were killed. Okay, but 2022 was still so high. Then it makes 2023 also very high. And they say, look at the data. Here's the data. This is the FBI expanded homicide offense counts in the United States. Here's 2019. You see this, guys? I don't know if you can read the numbers. 14,678. And then, do you remember 2020 when they were like, defund the police? It went to 18,965. Okay? You see that? Huge spike. Look at where it was all these years prior. And then in 2020, huge spike. And then the next year, dips down, right? Oh, what's that? Well, if you look, what's this say here? You always got to read everything, right? 2021 expanded homicide data includes fewer homicides due to an overall decrease in participation from agencies that are not yet reporting. Okay, so this number is a dip because they just stopped sending in the data to the FBI. And there it is in black and white. I'm on the FBI's website. So huge ramp up. Then we have no data. And then 2023 or 2022, we have a record high, 19,200. I don't know if it's a record high because it only goes back to 2012 here. But in 2012, it was 13,000. So this is 6,000 more people killed than 10 years prior. And ABC is saying, ABC is talking about 2023, and they're saying there's 2,000 fewer people. And I don't know where they're getting this data because it's not released. Like, I can't get it from the FBI, so I don't know where they're pulling it from. But if 2,000 fewer than 2022, that's 17,200. And again, in 2019, there were only 14,000. So we're at 3,000 higher, even if you buy their assumption. So it's not that we're like crazy because we think crime is higher. Crime is higher. The data says it's higher. The problem is it was very high, and then it went a little bit down. It made this little dip in some jurisdictions, not even all of them. So here's New York. Okay. This is from New York City. These are the numbers, okay? I didn't fudge anything here. You can go look it up yourself. 7 major felonies. This is like a category that New York keeps. I don't know if every jurisdiction does it this way, but they've figured these are the 7 deadly sins. 7 major felony offenses. Okay? remember, 2020 was when it all kind of was like, this was the last year, right? And then it was defund the police 2020. Then in 2021, things start going up. Things start going up. So in 2023, which, again, I don't have 2024 yet because we're in the middle of it, but it's 126,000 total, 7 major offenses, 7 major felonies. 126,000. In 2020, it was 95,000. The year before, 95,000. The year before, 95,000. The year before, 96,000. So this is like a near 30% spike in crime in New York City by their own numbers. And the media will continue to say crime is down. They keep, I don't know why, it's kind of mind-boggling why they do. I understand that you have to lie about everything. Crime is down. Kamala is up. Like, here's the message. Okay, so the computer crashed at that point, and off camera there are some holes in the drywall, but we were able to recover. We were able to recover what I had done. My team and I, basically me just screaming at an internet forum trying to figure out how to do anything. The point I was making, infrastructure before that failed. The point I was making is that crime is actually up. They're telling us it's not up. But this causes like it's almost like mental illness if you look at it. Like here, I'll show you the crime is down. This is the Washington Post. They keep pushing this. Crime is down. How do I do this? Crime is down, crime is down. Usually, you resize your windows in advance. Just a tip to the new podcasters. Crime is down, though Fox News viewers might not be aware. I mean, how self-righteous can you get? Crime is down. No, really. So we're doing sarcasm in it too? That's the Washington Post. Okay, this is 2023, December 2023, December 2023. This was just a week ago. This week is that. August 21st, 2024. Trump's claim about violent crime increasingly diverge from reality. Cherry-picked data, imaginary anecdotes. It's a bleak vision of an obviously non-existent America. Okay, so that's the Washington Post. But then if you go to the Washington Post, guys, if you read the Washington Post, you will see shooting pushes D.C. past 100 homicides. D.C. surpassed the benchmark 41 days later than in 2023, which saw a generational spike in violence. So, okay, it's down from 2023, but it's a generational spike in violence. That's what we're dealing with. This is according to the Washington Post. Washington Post. Can anything stop the D.C. crime wave? So it's a crime wave, right? So if you live in Washington, D.C., and you read the paper, you hear there is no crime, but also there's a crime wave. 2 killed, child injured in shooting. Is this the same one? Oh yeah. Giant stores. Giant is a supermarket in the DC metro area. So you can't go in a supermarket if you're a child because that's the situation now. And yet the same newspaper will say, crime is down. Are you idiots? Are you stupid? Crime is down. No, really. And the reality is, I live in New York, and I can tell you, I went from being the guy people were kind of like nervous about to now I'm like pearl clutching. I buy pearls to clutch them because it makes me feel safe. It is very much not we're not dealing with low crime right now. Crime is up. Crime is up. It's up, folks. Do your own research. I know that's a thing people say. But if you look at the actual data, that's the thing about crime is it comes in numbers. And there's the media, they're always splicing this because they sort of were silent about it for a long time. And then as soon as there was that dip in 2023 from 2022, so it went down a little tiny bit, then they said, the crime is down. But it's dishonest. Like pretty much everything that's happening outside of the David Angelo show, I give it to you straight. when my computer crashes and I have a nervous breakdown, which I did edit out, I come back and I finish the job, because that's what it means, you know, to be a public servant, which is what I view this as. Obviously, it's not for financial gain. So that's going to do it for the episode. Share it if you'd like. If you don't want to, that's okay. Yeah, you don't have to. But yeah, if you want, also leave. There was other stuff I was going to put in, then I just, you know. But if there's a topic you guys like, something hot in the news, you can put it in the comments on this, and I'll read the comments, and I'll think, oh, okay, maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't do that. So let me know. Otherwise, I will see you at an undetermined but not far off point in the future. Goodbye.